Testing, testing.
No.
Testing. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another Bright Future Friday. We are so glad that you have joined us today's live stream. My name is Simone, and I'm one of the YAC members. And I have the pleasure of and I have the pleasure of introducing everyone who will be on our live stream today. Bright Future Friday is all about connecting with our professionals from a wide range of careers and learning about their journeys, gain valuable insights, and discover the many opportunities that exist in today's workforce. Each week, we sit down with professionals to hear about their stories, how they got started, the challenges they overcome, the lessons they learned, and the advice they have for those who are exploring their own career path. Our hosts for today will be Anaya and Melanie, who will be our YAC members. Today, we have the pleasure of having Rayvon Baker, Jakiri Spain, and Randy Smith for today's live stream. We encourage you to stay engaged throughout the live stream. If you have any questions for our guests, be sure to share them in the comments. We will do our best to answer many questions as we can during today's discussion.
Hey everyone, I'm Leah, YAC's president, and I'm just going to further introduce our panelists. Rayvon Baker is a 23-year-old and was born in New Jersey, raised just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and has called Baltimore, Maryland home for the past 5 years. He earned his bachelor's degree in sociology and is currently pursuing a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling. Rayvon has always been passionate about understanding people, the mind, and the importance of mental health. He currently works at a mental health facility where he supports a psychiatric rehabilitation program, PRP, by helping connect clients with the services and resources they need to improve their daily lives. His goal is to become a clinical mental health counselor specializing in working with children, adolescents, and young adults. He is passionate about helping young people, understanding that taking care of their mental health is just as important as taking care of their physical health. Through his work and future career, Rayvon hopes to be a positive role model who encourages others to seek help when they need it and reminds them that asking for help is a sign of strength. Our next panelist is Jakira Spann. Jakira Spann is an educator, entrepreneur, real estate professional, and community leader dedicated to empowering others through education, leadership, and service. Since 2022, where she has served as a teacher with the Baltimore City Public Schools, where she is committed to helping students recognize their potential and achieve success. In addition to education, Jakir is a real estate agent with Keller Williams Legacy, a real estate investor, and the founder of CEO of Pathway Community Solutions, and organizing dedicated providing transitional housing and supportive services for veterans and youth aging out of foster care. Through her work, she helps connect individuals with safe housing, mental health resources, educational opportunities, life skills, and community support to promote long-term independence and stability. Jakira earned her Bachelor of Arts in Sociology with a minor of Criminal Justice from Lincoln University, PA, and her Master's of Art in Leadership and Teaching from Notre Dame of Maryland University. As a proud mother of one son and dog mom of 2 dogs, she is passionate about inspiring the next generation to lead with confidence, pursue their dreams, and create opportunities for themselves and others. She believes education, perseverance, and service are the foundation of meaningful leadership. Her personal motto is, I am a Black woman in leadership, not because someone gave me a seat at the table, but because I chose to build one where others could belong. Leadership is about lifting others as you climb. For our final panelist, we have Randy Smith. Randolph Smith, a Baltimore native master's student, attended Morgan State University, majoring in social work. A person for community and organizer for the people, has a huge heart for Baltimore and the upcoming generation. Since graduating with his bachelor's in communication, he came to the realization that there's a huge need for community and communications. And that comes with the execution and social work. As he continues his journey to impact youth, Randolph is never afraid to get his hands dirty and help those he come across. Now I'm going to turn over this live stream over to our host for today, and they'll get you started with our panel.
All right, thank you to our young members, Leah and Simone, for that great introduction. Now that we know a little bit about our panelists, can you all introduce yourselves and tell us what it is you guys do?
Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. All right. Greetings, everybody. I am Randolph Smith. I am a master's student at Morgan State University studying social work. I am also a recent graduate of Morgan State University as well, graduating with my bachelor's in multi-platform production. And I'm also the youth and media specialist for YouthWorks program that I'm currently at right here at Support by Design under the Youth Summers Leadership Institute. And yeah, fairly great and honored to be here. Rayvon, can you go?
Rayvon or Jakira, can you guys introduce yourselves?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm Rayvon Baker, as mentioned before, and I'm 23 years old. Currently getting my master's in mental health clinical counseling. And it's just an honor to be here this afternoon and looking forward to getting to speak with all of you.
Thank you. Jakira, could you go?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, guys. Again, my name is Jakira Span. I am a educator. I've been in education for about 5 years now, since 2022. I graduated from Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, to be exact, because it's two. The first degree graduate in HBCU. I served as parliamentarian. I have a lot of things under my belt underneath there. I graduated with my undergrad degree in criminal justice, sociology with a minor in criminal justice. And I also went to Notre Dame of Maryland University and graduated with my master's of leadership and teaching. Besides that, I am currently a active real estate agent with Keller Williams Legacy. And pursuing my real estate career, I also help serve underserved veterans and also youth aging out of foster care to give them guidance, financial literacy, and also help them within the community.
Thank you. Now we will start with our panel with some questions, and then later on we'll turn it to our viewers to ask some questions in chat. Okay, our first question is for everyone. It is, what inspired you to choose your career?
Miss Span, would you like to go first?
Go ahead. You could go first. You already turned your mic on.
All right. But yeah, to answer your question, what really inspired me to really go into my career, honestly, is just the purpose of impacting people. I'm a person where if I'm going to do something, I need a reason to do it. I go off of a why. I'm a person where it's just like, and many of our counterparts as well. You know, if we're not doing a service, then what are we here for? And the reason why I've definitely got into social work is, for one, and I know Rayvon could definitely testify, we are a necessity in this field. We are the future requirement in this field. And we understand us better than some other people might have an idea of us. And that's nothing against them. That's just the way how this country works. Um, I told myself, if I'm going to do something, be a necessity at it, be an asset and not a liability. And one thing I've learned, especially working here at Support by Design, is that if you're going to do anything, be an asset to somebody, be a reason, be a help, be a purpose, not just for yourself, but to those you come across. And that really inspired me to go into my current career in social work, and of course build up to then help people, and also to expand my horizon within the field itself.
Thank you.
So what made me decide to get in my field? I am currently the first generation of everything in my family. So I'm the first generation to go to college. I'm the first generation to start my own business. I am the first generation typically for everything. Growing up, I was raised by my grandparents. So a lot of that pursued me to go out and do more. I wasn't a typical child where I had mom and dad to go lean on to call. It was always my grandparents. Now at this age, I am 27 years old. I am currently the first generation out of all my friends to actually further and pursue a master's degree. On my dad's side as well. My dad's side, my grandmother has 13 grandchildren and 15 great grandchildren. I'm the first one as well to also receive a bachelor's and a master's degree. So just making the change within my family dynamic and also within my community. I do love helping people. I love bringing the spark to something new. It's not easy growing up as an African American, especially a woman in leadership. A lot of times you have, a lot of people of power, they don't look like us. So I just wanted to take my experiences and show my experiences to other people, other youth, other adults, that they can do the same thing as me.
As for me and why I wanted to get into this career, I've in the last, I would say, like 5 or 6 years, I've been interested in just understanding people, and why they do the things that they do, and just getting more into mental health. I feel like in the Black community, we don't speak on it, or at least before in the past, we didn't speak on it enough. It wasn't a thing to be talked about. It was just, oh, pray about it, or you'll be okay type of thing. But I like that in this current age, it has become a bit more popular to talk about. But just besides being popular, just it's being more talked about. It's being more discussed, and I feel like as a Black community, we need that. I feel like we are the ones who just tend to just brush things off, hide how we feel, and things like that. And mental health is just something that I feel like it's too important to not be talked about. So that's my thing, my goal, is just to be an advocate for mental health, especially for teenagers, children, teenagers, young adults. I feel like that's where it starts. So they need the most guidance and they need the most help, and that's what I want to be here for. So that's my ultimate goal.
Thank you. My next question is for everyone. What was your first job in your industry?
Um, so my first job in my industry was actually in YouthWorks. My first job in my industry was at YouthWorks. My first time doing it was in 2018, and I did it as a volunteer. And I was basically getting to taught to think. So creating my own business idea, seeing what I really want to do and how I want to do it. Why do I make myself a necessity in the field that I choose from? Because during the Youth Summership Leader Institute, I was taught to not only define a business, what comes with the business, budgeting, tax paying, the 50-30-20 rule. It really showed me and shaped me how what can I do to be the best leader. Yes, learning my soft skills, learning my interview skills, but also taught me why I should pursue the business I'm going into. So when it comes to social work, currently right now I'm doing PRP services, and I'm also about to um, basically take classes, become an RBT. And with that, that also comes within my master's clearly as I graduate next year in 2027, excuse me. I can then finally build and continue to keep building my not only my platform but basically my goal, my job. So that really got me to my field, starting at Youth Works and then going back to the same Youth Works again in 2023 and been doing a media specialist for that same group ever since. So yeah, it really started when I was at y'all seat. So it's really, yeah.
So my first job was actually, you might catch this by surprise, was McDonald's. And the reason why I say McDonald's is because when you look at these chains and you look at these factories, all of them deal with money. My second thing was transitioning from high school to internships in college. Therefore, if you go into banking, I was an intern at a banking institute, and that goes hand in hand with real estate because real estate, you have these people in this bank called mortgage brokers. And with them, they kind of get the numbers down, get the numbers around, play with the numbers, see how much you will owe on your house, see what they can get, their hands on, what prices they can give you, what interest rates they could give you, and things like that. Um, so working for the Banking Institute, I actually had a client that would always come up to the bank and he would deposit money like crazy. And when I actually spoke with him one day, I asked him, what did he do? Come to find out, he was a real estate broker. And with being a real estate broker, you own your own real estate firm. You have people work underneath you, but just him giving me the knowledge of education and him educating me on things that I did not know, it kind of went hand in hand with, okay, well, if you're educating me, I could also educate people as well who look like me, or educate people who don't really know the ins and out of things when it comes to finances, financial literacy, and things of that nature. So for me, mine was not only was that I had my first job at McDonald's, I was also dealing with money that I didn't know how to, just put in the system, but not know how our operational chain work. And then forward transitioning to the Banking Institute. And then when I transitioned from the Banking Institute, I knew that that was something that I wanted to get in education with educating not only clients, but also educating students as well.
And as for me, my first job in the field is actually currently where I work at now at MD Counseling Services. When I first started here, it was actually an internship. So it was an internship turned into a full-time job. As soon as I graduated from my bachelor's, basically is when it became my full-time job. So here, what I do at MD Counseling Services is I serve as a administrative coordinator for the PRP program. So for the PRP program, is where we have like our social workers, or what we call DCWs, and they are the ones that kind of go like door to door to see our clients, as well as just helping them build like everyday life skills, just checking in with the clients, making sure that they are living well, living healthily, physically and mentally, as well as taking them to appointments, to jobs, any jobs that they need help with, they assist them with filling out job applications or even taking them to interviews or anything like that. So basically, I oversee all that. So I do the behind the scenes paperwork for the DCWs or slash social workers. And I also collaborate with the therapists as well to make sure our clients are being seen and to make sure that the social workers and the therapists are also doing their work together. And so what I've learned here so far, I've learned a lot more about mental health, which was my goal when I started here. I just wanted to finally work somewhere or intern somewhere where I will learn more into the field. So I've definitely learned a lot as far as even diagnosis. I've got to experience certain things with clients. Being on the phone with clients, I get to hear certain stories and I get to hear just experience talking to them, and they tell me things and things like that. I've gotten a lot of experience with working with clients, but my goal right now is to actually work more hands on instead of doing the behind the scenes work. So as I am in my master's for mental health clinical counseling, I plan on finding a job where I can be more hands-on with working with children or young adults, like as a mental health technician or as a behavioral health technician. That's my goal. But here at MD Counseling Services, I've definitely learned a lot of what I need to know, the insides and outs of even how to run a private practice, which is something I plan to do in my near future. So definitely my first job is the best experience that I've gotten so far, and I'm ready to find even more experience as well.
All right, thank you. That was such great answers and great starting points. Now, this next question is going to be for Randy. Why do you think social work is such an important profession in our community?
Thank you for that question. Um, why not? That would really just be my rebuttal. Yeah, think about it. Systemically speaking, we were destroyed. We were mentally, physically, and emotionally damaged on purpose. And we was taught, like as Rayvon and Miss Span spoke on a little bit, was like, go to church, go go home, drink water, and you'll figure out to have a better day tomorrow. Like I haven't been traumatized in the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years of my life. So it's like, and we're going to be real, unfortunately, even those places that I just named can be traumatizing to the audience that it might be brought up in. So I decided, again, you have to be an asset. You have to be a need for your community. Me being in this space is creating a space for you to completely be human, where you can completely be yourself. You don't have to depend on a substance. You don't have to depend on a person. I want you to depend on yourself to get you where you have to be in this space. And I don't even think it's social work or just social work. I think of it as like, mm, I'm saved. So I think of it as God's work in its own special way, because that's the purpose behind it. And my goal now is to really see and examine how I can just create more spaces to where you can completely just be human. So you can completely just be yourself. But my most important reason outside of what I just named why I got to this space was because I have parents. My mom's in special education. My grandmother was in special education. I lost my older brother when I was 16 due to gun violence, and my grandmother, she was in special education and a principal, as in the rest of my moms were. But they're my why of why I should be in this space. Because although do I want to teach? No, but do I want to help you to teach yourself? Yes. So that's why I got into this space.
Thank you for that great answer.
This question is for Rayvon. How can teens tell the difference between everyday stress and something that may require professional help?
Could you repeat that question for me one more time, please.
How can teens tell the difference between everyday stress and something that may require professional help?
So I would say the answer to that is everyday stress could look like just getting up for school, and having to like study for a test or something like that. But the difference between everyday stress and something that you should see as a mental health issue or something that should be taken to a professional is how do you show up to maybe even like school every day? Are you constantly agitated? Are you constantly mad all the time? Are you sad all the time? That's where it becomes a difference. You could easily be stressed about what outfit you're going to wear or how am I going to do on this test or anything like that. That's something small. But I feel once it gets to your behaviors, you're always fighting, you're always arguing, you're constantly getting smart with teachers, you are breaking up with friends or anything like that. That's something that needs to be a pattern that should be studied right away in young adolescents, because behind closed doors, you never know what's going on. And you just don't want to take lightly to that, lightly to any behaviors of any any negative behaviors. You don't want to take lightly to that. So I feel like that's when things need to be looked at, and professionally. So that would be my answer to that.
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Okay, now this question is for Jakira. Why is home ownership considered a way to build wealth?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, I said, why is home ownership considered a way to build wealth?
So this goes back to what Mr. Smith said, Mr. Randolph said. Home ownership is considered an asset. It's not considered a liability. So think of it as this. I always tell people, think of it as this. When you have a home and you're renting a home, you're just paying your money to the person who owns it, right? It could be a company, it could be an apartment complex. But when you own something, the money that you're putting towards your mortgage, that's something that you're getting back out of it, which is called equity. So let's say, for instance, you have a home that potentially you live in it for 5 years, and within the next 5 years, the market goes up, and your home now is worth, let's say, for instance, you bought it at 150,000, but your home is worth now within those 5 years 250,000, right? So the money that you're paying for your mortgage, you're actually adding more money and more value to yourself versus you just paying somebody, paying a bill, and it leaves you with nothing. So home ownership is actually considered an asset.
Thank you again. That was so insightful.
Okay, so my next question is for Randy. What challenges have you faced while pursuing your career?
So many. The biggest challenge I face when going into my career is you're not going to make any money. You are we a lot of gaslighting. They would be like, "Well, son, we service people like you. So if anything, do you need our services?" Like to basically say I wasn't qualified to help myself. And I said, in my mind, I'm like, I don't think there could be a better teacher than me when it comes to me. I don't think anybody know myself better than myself. But the biggest challenge I say I had to face was completely accepting people for who they are and realizing early that you just can't save everybody. That's hard because my heart is huge. My heart ain't big, my heart is huge. I'm a person for knowing the people. I'm the person for the next person up. I'm the team player. I'm the person, if we, in any situation, I want the worst, biggest, baddest person on the field, and we can go from there. You take care of everything else. I want the challenge. That's how I thrive. When I seen people that look like us but don't want the best for us, I had to actually evaluate some things. I really had to sit down and ask myself, is this worth my reaction or my action? I always chose my action because you have to act before you react. And that is something that is, it took some time, but I really just sat down myself and said, did I do my best? Yes. Did I do my part? Yes. And did I make a way and find another resource for this individual? Absolutely. And then I would go about my day that way because I told myself you can't take a burden home with you. You can't take stress to your safety net. What's at work stays at work. Because once you get home, it's home. Home is a safe place. Make your life a safe place. Don't ever bring extra noise to your covenant. So that was one thing I learned. And the second thing I learned when it came to accepting people for who they are. When people show you who they are the first time, believe them. Believe them. Believe them for yourself. They are not lying to you. That's exactly who they are. And you have to continue to be your authentic self. There's been times in this field, and I know all of us can agree, people didn't like you because you were yourself. It sounds crazy, but it's so true, especially when you're young and you know your field, you know your criteria, you know your work, and you know your work ethic. Once you know your worth, you're priceless. And people don't understand that. We're the generation where it's like, if you say no to me tomorrow, I'm gonna say yes to me today and tomorrow. They're not used to that. So that's be the two biggest challenges I've learned, but also the greatest lessons that I learned in the field so far.
Thank you. That was so inspiring.
All right, this question is for Rayvon. What belief did you hold early in your career that you completely changed?
The belief that I held earlier in my career is that I at one point in time I thought that I'm just perfect and there's nothing wrong with me. So I would be even best fit to help others. But shortly after that, I think I went through more experience of life and realized that I'm far from perfect and that I never will be perfect. I think that's also a big thing in itself is that I strive to be perfect and that's pointless because I never will be. So I learned that early on, and I also learned something also close to what Mr. Smith said, as far as you have to let people be who they are. You cannot control them or try to make them perfect, because people are at the end of the day they're going to do what they feel is best best maybe to do or what they feel like doing. So I learned that even if I do try to, the most I can do is influence, or I can try to assist people to become better or to help them. But no one will ever be perfect, including myself, and no one is going to do exactly what I feel they should do. So those are two big things I think I learned early on that have kind of shaped where I'm at in life now. And I'm glad that I've learned those two things. They were definitely two pivotal moments for sure.
Thank you.
My next question is for Jakira. How can students develop leadership skills while they're still in school?
That's actually a great question. I would say show up as your authentic self. And what I mean by showing up as your authentic self, a lot of times we get trapped in what our friends want us to do, how we look to our peers, how we look to our parents, how we look to our friends, even if how we look to our outside community. But what I would say, whatever fits you, fits you. It was once upon a time where when I was in high school, I was working 3 jobs, still maintaining A's and B's. But I had to cut my distractions out because I knew at an early age what I wanted for myself. And a lot of times you have to understand that when you don't show up as your authentic self and what other people want you to be, sometimes it could be like a little bit lax and you won't show up as your full potential. And when you get to a certain age, it's now going to become, okay, well, I wish I should have did this, or I wish I could have did this. Whatever your mind is set to, go for it. When you have things that you want to do, prime example, if sometimes in school, you really want to go to a track meet. You run track really good, but your peers don't think that that's something for you. They think that you should do this. Do what you want to do for yourself. Show up, be your authentic self, be the person who God called you to be, and things will start aligning for you. A lot of times we get caught up in shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And with that being said, that sometimes we get lax with certain things. So I say show up as your authentic self, do what you have to do for yourself, respect yourself at all times, and you'll be able to pursue anything that you want to.
Thank you. All right, now that we asked our questions, it is now time for you guys in the chat to ask any questions that you may have. Just comment.
Do I have to put a question?
Uh, Great question. So what I did was, in order for people to like create, to build my trust when it came to my clients, I really just have to keep myself accountable with them first, because we also had to think realistic. The people you come across have dealt with neglect, they dealt with abandonment, they dealt with hypocrites and liars and gaslighters. So when you deal with people like that all your life, when they see somebody that's in this field that's trying to help, they already have this thing in their mind. You ain't gonna be here till tomorrow, or hopefully even a week. I might give you a week, most tops. So what I did was this: I decided to come every day. I would show up to that kid's his home. I would call his parents, be like, "Hey, for today's session, we're gonna go outside, get some fresh air. The goal is to get outside of the comfort zone. This is what we're gonna do. Today, we're about to go and just clean up the room, do some things in the house, just so he can understand that it's not just him that's dealing with this. We all have our own mishaps. So cleanliness can also help with him just building up confidence, because why be upset in a room that is clean that you made? So now you have pride within what you have accomplished to have a better tomorrow. And then it's just the small things, the small interactions, the hey, I had a snack coming in here. Would you like some? Thought about you, consideration. That's how I really built trust when it came to my clients and the people that I even come across within my field, because I practice what I preach. So it's never, oh, I never heard this before. Oh, Randy don't do that. Nah, he told me what he was going to do. He did exactly what he said he's going to do, and he communicated before I had to reach out to him to do so. After, since I do those three things, that only built my clientele. That really built up my name within the space. So yeah, that's how I really build my trust with my clients.
Um, So I see it says, what advice would you give to someone trying to purchase a home? So the first thing that I would say is credit. Credit, 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 credit. So when we're in school, we may touch on it a little bit. Business OIM and education, a lot of times educators don't talk about financial literacy, credit, establishment, things of that nature. Credit is so important. It determines everything. It determines your finance situation. It determines what you get approved for. It determines how much you will get approved for. So I would say small things like that. When it comes to so far is some of you may not know exactly the ins and outs. But ask your parents. Hey mom, hey dad, I want to know how can I start establishing credit at this age so I will be able to potentially one day buy a home. Or some of you may want to purchase a home for your parents. I know my end goal is to make myself and my family financially free. But one thing I would say is make sure your credit is good. Make sure you have everything aligned. It's programs out here that will also get you funded. Being a first time home buyer, a lot of people don't know when it comes to jobs. Hospitals, you could work in a hospital, you could be a teacher, you can be a firefighter. So things like that all goes into purchasing a home. But the first thing I will establish is make sure everything is good with your credit.
I love that you brought up credit because we actually post live streams on Mondays called Money Mondays, and we do teach about credit and banking and getting paid and how to save and things of that nature.
Yes, that's actually excellent. That's excellent. And I'm glad that you guys are learning it at a young age because some of us, we didn't know about that. That wasn't taught. So a lot of times things are passed down from generation to generation. So if our grandparents didn't know it and then our grandparents didn't know it and potentially it falls down to our parents, that's something that we're not taught. So I'm glad that you guys are learning that at a young age because that's the first thing that you need when purchasing a home. They will ask you certain things of, what type of home that you want, what type of price range that you're staying in, and whatever interest rate that you get, it goes off of your credit. And also, you have to have a certain credit score to be able to purchase a home.
Can't see it.
I see the question of how can we reduce the stigma around mental health, especially in Black communities. I just want to say that's a great question. I think the way we can reduce the stigma is by just more Black people going to therapy. Simply, I know when it comes to therapy, it's definitely a touchy subject. I know even in my family, there's a few people in my family who just refuse to go to therapy. People have their reasons of just, oh, someone, a stranger listening to my problems, or they can't help me. They don't know my life, or I can help myself better than they can help me, or anything like that. Or even I've heard excuses from my own friends of saying like, oh, I would have to go to a Black person to receive therapy because I don't want to talk to a white person about my problems. All those are just honestly, to me, excuses. I feel like even to the last thing I said, if there is so many, not enough, but there are a number of Black African Americans who are working in the mental health field who are ready to assist our own people with getting their mental health together. That's number one. I feel like if we have more conversations about therapy or just more about improving your mental health, getting offline, getting into nature, just unplugging and just getting more into nature, touching grass more, traveling, things like that. I think more conversations need to be had like that in the Black community. I feel like most conversations are always just negative, especially even when it comes to mental health. So I think the best step is for people in the Black community to just seek therapy, talk to someone in your family. If you can't seek therapy, because therapy sometimes it can cost. So if you can have someone, a trusted, respected family member that you can talk to and at least express your emotions to in a safe space, that's also a thing to do. I would say even writing, journaling is also something. Just any way you can express your emotions is definitely a great way to reduce the stigma, because I feel like a lot of the times people are running around here with unexpressed emotions, or they're thinking they're expressing it, but it's in crazy, terrible ways of just fighting and yelling and screaming and things like that. But really, they just need someone to talk to. They just need someone to guide them. They might even just need someone to just listen to them, or they might even need to just write their feelings out. So I definitely think if we take more time to just incorporate those conversations in the Black community on mental health, checking up on our people, talking to the young people, the children, the kids, the teens, the young adults, talking to them more about how they're feeling, why are they feeling that way, and what can they do, or what can someone do to help them improve their mental health or improve their feelings. I think that would really go a long way in reducing the stigma in mental health, specifically for the Black community.
Thank you for them awesome responses. As we wrap up our panel today, we're going to give you some facts about Towson University. As you can see, our presentation was Towson University themed. Towson University is ranked the #3 top public school and #11 regional university in the North by the U.S. News and World Report. Towson University is a 329-acre campus with modern academic buildings, residence halls, and athletic facilities. The student to faculty ratio is 14:1, allowing for relatively small class sizes. The university's Dr. Tiger mascot was introduced in 1963. Students complete more than 7,000 internships each year thanks to the university's partnerships across the Baltimore-Washington region. The campus is about 8 miles from downtown Baltimore, making it easy for students to access internships, sporting events, museums, and cultural attractions. About 90% of graduates from Towson University are employed or enrolled in graduate school shortly after graduation, with many remaining in Maryland. Tiger Fest is one of Towson's biggest annual events, featuring live entertainment, games, food, and activities.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining our live stream today. Have a great day.
And a wonderful weekend.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you all for having
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, go all the way back to the first slide.
Y'all be safe. Stay great.